This is the story of Elijah, a man who lost everything but found God in the process. For 50 years, Elijah lived behind bars. Accused of a crime he didn't commit, he was sentenced to a lifetime of suffering. But in the darkest place, he found the brightest light. He chose faith over bitterness, hope over despair, and forgiveness over revenge. It's a story that reminds us that no matter how deep the darkness, God's light can shine brighter. It all began in 1973, in a small town where a young man's life was turned upside down by a lie. The courtroom was cold, sterile, and unforgiving. At 19 years old, Elijah stood trembling before the judge, his future hanging in the balance. The accusations were false, a crime he didn't commit, a lie spun by those who wanted him silenced. But the evidence, though fabricated, was convincing enough. The gavel fell like a death knell. 50 years, the judge declared, his voice devoid of mercy. Elijah's heart shattered, but deep within, a small voice whispered, "Trust me." Elijah was sent to Blackwood Penitentiary, a place where hope went to die. The walls were grey, the air thick with despair, and the sounds of clanging metal and angry shouts echoed endlessly. But Elijah carried something with him that no prison could strip away: his faith. He remembered his grandmother's words, spoken years ago as she held her worn Bible close. "God's plans are bigger than our pain, Elijah. Even in the darkest valleys, He is with you." The first years were brutal. Elijah faced violence, loneliness, and the crushing weight of injustice. But every night, he knelt on the cold floor of his cell and prayed. He prayed for strength, for peace, and for the truth to come to light. He read the Bible relentlessly, its pages becoming his lifeline. Psalm 27:13 became his anthem. "I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living." Over time, Elijah's unwavering faith began to ripple through the prison. Inmates noticed his calm demeanor, his refusal to retaliate, and his willingness to help others. He started a Bible study in the common room, sharing the hope he found in Christ. Even the guards, hardened by years of cynicism, couldn't ignore the light that seemed to radiate from him. One guard, a man named Carl, once asked, "How can you still believe in God after what's happened to you?" Elijah smiled softly. "God didn't put me here, but He's with me here. And if He's with me, I have everything I need." Years turned into decades. Elijah grew older, his hair grayed, but his faith never wavered. He continued to pray for his freedom, but more than that, he prayed for the hearts of those around him. He saw men transformed by the gospel, their lives redirected by the same hope that sustained him. He became known as the peacemaker, a man who carried the presence of God wherever he went. Then, one Tuesday, everything changed. A young lawyer named Sarah Mitchell, fresh out of law school, stumbled upon Elijah's case while researching wrongful convictions. The evidence against him had always been shaky, but new technology allowed her to uncover the truth. Elijah was innocent. The real perpetrator, now on his deathbed, confessed to the crime, clearing Elijah's name after 50 long years. The day of his release was surreal. The prison gates creaked open, and Elijah stepped into the sunlight for the first time in half a century. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashed, and the world wanted to hear his story. But Elijah's first words were not of bitterness or anger, they were of gratitude. "I forgive those who wronged me," he said, his voice steady and strong. "God was with me every step of the way. He never left me, and He used this time to teach me about His love and faithfulness. If my story can bring even one person to Him, then it was all worth it." Elijah's release made headlines, but his impact went far beyond the news. He traveled the country, sharing his testimony in churches, prisons, and conferences. He spoke of God's faithfulness in the darkest places, of the power of forgiveness, and of the hope that can only be found in Christ. His story inspired millions, a living testament to the truth that God can turn even the greatest injustices into something beautiful. In his final years, Elijah returned to his hometown, where he started a ministry for ex-convicts, helping them rebuild their lives and find hope in Christ. He often said, "The world may have taken 50 years from me, but it couldn't take my faith. And because of that, I've gained eternity." When Elijah passed away at the age of 79, his legacy was not one of bitterness or despair, but of unwavering faith and radical forgiveness. His life was a living sermon, a powerful reminder that no matter how deep the darkness, God's light can shine brighter.